This is the Coins, Cashflow, and Conversations podcast, hosted by Upstate Essential Solutions. If you need help with accounting, taxes, for your business, you're a med spa owner, you're an institution, entrepreneur, or nurse practitioner, entrepreneur, contact me today at dakotagrady.com. And if you need help with your personal finances, it's the beginning of the new year. You living check to check and you want to get help with your finances, contact me as well at dakotagrady.com. Hey y'all, this is the Coins, Cashflow, and Conversations podcast. Today, I got my friend on here, Mr. Bellamy, joining me, and I want to have a talk about parenting. We just came from doing an IG Live. We'll continue the conversation. If you didn't hear the first part of it, go check out my page on Instagram to hear the first part of the conversation. But without further ado, Marcus, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Hey man, thanks for having me, Dakota. How are you today?
I'm fine. How about you?
Hey man, you caught me in between taking my little girl. My little girl's a up and coming artist, so we're on our way to the studio. You caught me like right in between.
All right, so I know you're busy, so we're gonna get right into it. So tell us about who you are and what you do, brother.
So my name is Marcus Bellamy, aka Bell. I'm the CEO and owner of Double Egg Network. We are a local, independently owned content creation network, looking to bring the cheat code to content everywhere. We have shows on there streaming such as the Dad Group Project, Bell and Zale, Talk Dirty to Me, and Bellamy's Random Rants. A couple of those are familiar, and we're just expanding and growing.
Yes, sir. So we're talking about parenting, and especially, you talking about parenting from a black man's perspective. You're a father of 8, and we're talking about child support. In your opinion, do you think child support has hindered you from really taking care of your kids, or has it helped you? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
That's a weird. I'm gonna answer it the best way I can, right? So child support has actually bettered my life, because if I would not have went the route that I have went through that journey, I wouldn't be able to use my voice and my story to help anybody else. And I feel like me going through that made it worth it, because the rate and the way that African-American men are committing suicide in America is growing at 3% every year. Of that, the sense of worthlessness is something they found from the ones that have recovered or been caught. And I never wanted my story to be worthless, because I've been through something and I know my hurt, I know my pain. So for me, child support was a good thing, because it opened up the opportunity for me to be able to relate to my fellow black man. And it's terrible that us as black men have to relate on that topic, but if that's the topic that I can bring more brotherhood and more camaraderie for us to sit down and have the conversation about it, then so be it. So no, I would say it's actually helped me in the aspect of my development as a man. As far as financially, it's always going to be a burden, because I'm a full-time father, so I pay for them twice. So I pay this way, and when they're at my house, which is quite routinely and frequently, I'm paying for them here, and that's just the nature of the cards in the state that I live in.
So you talk about suicide, and on your documentary, Diary of a Deadbeat, you talked about suicide, and you just mentioned it earlier, how black people or black men are basically committing suicide. What is the cause of that? I think you mentioned it on your podcast. What's the cause of that?
So one of the like I said, I'm just now, as a journalist myself, this topic has made me dive deeper into my own abilities as a journalist, because now I have to do real research, and I haven't quite versed myself. So I'm not ready to quote certain websites, because I haven't learned how to check the pedigrees of each one. But what I have seen in the culmination of my research was between 2 and 3% of black men that have committed suicide, or have either left a letter and or like they recovered and they talked to them afterwards. They call it the aftershock interview, I believe, what I read. Excuse me, like I said, don't quote me, please don't. I'm not a doctor, just read. It's the sense of worthlessness, the sense that nobody cares that I'm experiencing the pain that I'm experiencing. And in the documentary, I said this, and I don't mind saying it again. In America, we're almost building people. You can be whoever you want to be and get rights, and somebody cares. That's fine. But where is my protection as a black man? Where are my rights as a black man? Where is my comfort zone that I can be a black man and a provider and not get rocks thrown at me both ways? You know what I'm saying? That's where I think child support is most tarnished is the ideology of it wasn't bad. It's basically to supplement the second income. But nobody talks about when it came about. Nobody thinks that it's not, synonymous that the 80s was crack, the 80s was hood, the 80s was child support. Nobody's tripping off that. Us in our community, we're not tripping off that. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, why don't we ask that question? Why are we not asking why us, black men? Because we're the ones that are going through it. And I'm not saying nobody else, but I'm around black men. I feel like I speak for black men. When are we going to get enough? When are we tired of it? You got to think, local politicians that we vote for, they know what's going on. That's even worse. That means they're in on it because you know it exists. And if you're not a part of the solution, Dakota, you have to be a part of the problem. There's no other way. So that's kind of where I stand on it. It's like, enough is enough. I think it's enough silence. I'm not saying that black men are killing themselves because of child support, but I can speak on my journey from where I've been and openly and transparently say to you that there's been times where recently, man, last year, bro, last November, I got locked up for 4 days for child support. Can you imagine somebody that's actually doing for his kids? I'm at these school functions. I'm playing both parties and attempting to pay this individual at the same time. I had to spend 4 days of my life in jail. What if I would have been stabbed in jail? What if I'd have picked up another charge in jail? Nobody thinks about that. I didn't even get a judge on Friday. Because the judge decided to call out, I had to spend Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday afternoon. Where is my justice? Where is my due diligence? Where is my due process? Am I not an American? What's the difference? Where are my rights as a father? Where are my natural rights? Why don't they exist? And why aren't they respected?
So that's something that really bothers me when someone is paying child support. And how is putting someone in jail going to help the person get caught up? Or because
it keeps running.
Jail,
it keeps running.
Right. If they're in jail, they can't pay. They can't work.
Dakota, answer me this. You can get a bond for any kind of crime you commit. But in family court, if family court issues the warrant, you have to just sit. It's almost like they've picked and choose which laws come together to form family court in the state of South Carolina. It's like, we'll take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and we'll just and see what we get. And it's like, I'm not from here. I'm from Bristol, Tennessee, Carter County, but I grew up here. This is my home. And I'm tired of going through this and not saying anything. I pay my taxes. I'm an American. Something's being done to me that's wrong. I'm gonna make somebody listen.
How can people create maybe a law to override this, or some kind of accountability for this? I mean, if you set the system up, there's no checks and balances to go back and see if the person is actually taking care of the children with the money that they receive from the parent. Like, why does this exist?
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it transparently. There's been other rights and activists that have stepped forward for cause, women's rights, gay rights. And I feel like there's never been anybody that I can remember. I'm not gonna say never. I'm not gonna say never. That's wrong. There is an individual on Instagram that I do follow. It's called Child Support is Fraud. Please go check him out. He's basically giving game on how to free yourself from the matrix if you've been through something. I don't think there's ever been anybody to like openly speak on it. And RIP to DMX and a lot of these guys that go through this in celebrityism. I feel like if us as men would just say enough is enough. Why do I have to do this? Why can't you give me a better explanation for what you're doing to me than because I said so? Until we as a group say enough is enough, they're going to continue it because it's got to be a multi-billion-dollar business because there's, how many states is it, Dakota? They're getting 60 million in South Carolina. What are you getting in California? What are you getting in Texas? What are you getting? So it's business, and I respect the business, but I'm tired of the machine. I'm tired.
So, before we close,
for me, I'm sorry to cut you off, but for me, I think a good spot for us to start, South Carolina, if you're listening, a good spot for us to start. Let's start at home. Let's stop gassing up our friends who are using this incorrectly. And we're not going to sit around and say, oh, we're not doing that. Oh, we can't say that. You'll stop your friend from committing a murder. You'll stop your friend from committing suicide. Stop your friends from using laws that me and you both know are unright to harm these women and men. And it's not just men that are getting bashed. It's not just men that are going through this. It's the law of child support itself is an issue for both sides. And we need to stop letting them pimp us against each other for $1.
So, last question. How would that, it's honestly, it's a mindset. If we've been ingrained with, oh, this child support coming in, I'm gonna rely on that, I don't have to work or whatever. How does people change their mindset around not relying on that, opposed to working, being independent and saying, all right, I may be mad with him or her, but I'm going to be an adult and take care of my child and then have him or her work with me or not, depending on the dynamic. How do we make a solution to that problem in-house?
Yeah, for sure. We have to start internally. We have to start acting like the Kill Daddy regiment they put in the 80s didn't exist. They specifically said we didn't fly no planes to Vietnam, Dakota to get crack. We didn't own no planes. But James Brown was the first man to own a plane. I'm sure James Brown wasn't flying coke from Vietnam. He wasn't doing it. So we have to stop being angry. And what's happened is this whole premise has left such a stain in our households that it's the damage is astronomical. Because think about this. My daddy left me. Say hypothetically, my daddy leaves me. And then the parent or my mama leaves me, whoever leaves me. And the parent I'm with gets to go, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. And then you have the other person who probably, people don't think about the other person is, how do they feel? Why did they leave? I do not believe because me and you broke up, I deserve to pay you child support. Because if you take the children away from both parties, you would still have a light bill, water bill, rent, life insurance, all that. You would still have these bills. And these children did not create the bills. I feel like we need to stop being able to teach each other. When we see it being done wrong, because you're around your homegirls, you're around your home guys, man, I'm gonna get me a job making $5 an hour, so I ain't gotta pay her that much. Correct that. Make them stand on that. When you're around your homegirl, little mama, shorty, whoever watching this, and she's like, yeah, he think he gonna leave me and be with so-and-so, I'ma correct that. Stop allowing people around us to do it. That's where we start. We know it exists. We see on the internet, somebody will go on somebody else's Facebook and start bashing the other parent. Let's stop watching them. Start blocking them. Start reporting them. Stop getting that negativity, that nonsense off the page. That's where we start. It's the accountability of each other. We don't hold each other to no standard. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't help there's songs out there. I mean, it's just, we have to change our thought process. And the first way I think in the household to change it is we have to respect the Black father. Respect him, whether he's good, bad, or indifferent. Respect him for trying. He's there, he's doing. Give him his credit. Why is there never enough for that job? It's like every job in the world has a standard, but our standard just does this. And at some point, you're just like, what am I getting out of the deal? So we have to just take more accountability on our friends and our families and get rid of this level of ignorance and hatred towards each other, because all it is hatred at the end of the day. I don't care how bad you did me wrong. I don't want the government in your paycheck. I don't want them in your paycheck. Why can't we just say, hey, I take care of your kids, you take care of the kids? Why? Whatever happened to that? It's like, that's people forgot. We can just say, hey, we'll just take care of them together. Oh, okay. Why do we have to go pay this third party to take the money from us? Come on now. Come on, South Carolina. We here now. Talk to me.
So, Marcus, thank you for your time. How can we find about you online, social media, and your website?
So most definitely make sure you go to YouTube and type in Double Egg Network. We are the only one. So you see them eggs cracked open, you know it's us. You can find me on Instagram for Double Egg Network. You can find me on Facebook for Double Egg Network. And you can tap into my regular page and see me. And it's 8 of them, all 8 of them in the misses on my regular Facebook page of Marcus Bellamy. I appreciate Dakota for having me, man. This is a great conversation.
Yes, sir. So if you need help with your personal finances or accounting taxes, it's tax season, y'all, and beginning of the new year. So contact me today at dakotagrady.com. This is the Coins, Cashflow, and Conversation podcast, hosted by, or sponsored by, Upstate Eastern Solutions. Thanks for joining us.